It's 3 years away, but that's not stopping a small line from forming outside the governor's office. Speaker of the House, Jim Amann, says he is considering running for governor. And Governor Jody Rell says she hasn't ruled out running again either.
I honestly love the job I'm doing. There are times, of course, you don't like the politics of it, but the job itself is great.
Rell, who has always maintained high popularity marks in the polls, says she'll make a decision about forming an exploratory committee next month.
Lou, my husband, and I have been talking about it, and he always said, if you want to run again, I'll be there to support you.
And Rell isn't the only one looking ahead to 2010. In fact, there is already a short list of high-profile politicians possibly eyeing the office. Speaker of the House Jim Amann has already said he's considering running for governor in the next election cycle. Other big names being tossed about: Senate President Don Williams and Attorney General Richard Blumenthal. While neither would firm up a definite run, both leading Democrats were surprised by Rell's early announcement.
Well, some would say that a move like this helps prevent her from being a lame duck for the next 3 years.
I was more curious about what exactly needs to be explored for an incumbent who has the job.
There's been speculation that Rell, a breast cancer survivor herself, would not finish out this term because of her husband's illness. But the governor says that is just that, a rumor. She says she wants to wait and see how things shake out in the presidential election before she makes a definite decision.
I wouldn't do it unless I had a serious interest in doing it again. Of course, is that we have invested or have earmarked roughly $50 million.
And here now to talk more about his possible run for governor and the upcoming special session is the Speaker of the House, Mr. Jim Amann. Mr. Amann, thank you so much for being here. I'm very good. Happy New Year.
Great to be here.
So we're going to make a big announcement today, right? Are you running for governor?
Yes. I'm putting an exploratory out at the end of the month. You know, it's always wonderful when you sit down with three of your best friends and have a conversation, and then it leaks out to the morning paper, your local paper, the next day. So nobody's fessing up who leaked it, but I'm definitely on the 31st of this month will be announcing an exploratory committee for governor, yes.
An exploratory committee, okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 meaning that you will be running, where would you gauge it?
Well, if exploratory mainly tells you, if it's your time or not. So if the numbers look good, the chances are, if they come out halfway decent, I'd say 98%. If the polls come back and tell me it's not my time, I'm certainly not going to go forward with it. But right now, every indication is I'm ready to go. I'm looking forward to it. The response already has been really, really interesting and a lot of fun. And I've had some great people I haven't talked to in years, old friends calling and want to be part of the team Amann. So we'll see what happens.
So that's what you're waiting for? You're doing some kind of polling, internal polling to find out?
Exploratory means is you talked about some great political names out there, Dick Blumenthal, Governor Rell, Don Williams, many other names we've been hearing. And certainly you got to have an indication if you even have a chance. I feel that it is my time to run, but exploratory committees and the people will tell me that in the final analysis before I go forward.
Were you surprised to hear Governor Rell saying that she hasn't ruled out running again either?
I'm a little surprised, but listen, the governor, we understand she doesn't want to be perceived as a lame duck. But she's also a very popular governor, someone that I know sometimes it sounds like her and I don't get along. The truth is we have an extremely good relationship, one-on-one, and she's a great lady, and we'll see and a good governor, and we'll see what happens 2.5 years from now. I can't be concerned about what Governor Rell's decisions are, and I certainly can't be concerned what Mr. Blumenthal wants to do.
So in a few weeks we'll have a decision from you. Okay, let's move on now to the special session. You had said that the House and the General Assembly in general will take up criminal justice reform in light of course, the terrible home invasion last summer, I should say, having to do with the Pettit family. Session starts in February, so the clock is ticking. When exactly do you expect to have a special session?
As you know, we want to do it and do it right. I had a great conversation with Governor Rell yesterday about it. Her report comes out the 9th, and she's did a great job with her committee. I think that Judiciary Committee did a wonderful job, too, getting the information. It seems that the governor and the Judiciary Committee have a lot of common ground. And once the 9th, I gave her the option, would she like to meet with us before the 9th right after the 9th to go over her proposals. If whatever that decision is before or after, we'll meet with the governor. It'll be bipartisan, and we'll do the right thing for the Pettit family and bring justice to them and make sure that we protect families in the future.
We have a few graphics here to kind of bottom line what criminal reform justice is all about. Now, from what I understand, these are some of the items on the table that have been pretty much have bipartisan support, making home burglary a violent crime, which means a longer prison sentence, using more GPS tracking devices, and of course, better communication between parole board and prosecutors. Now, let's move on to other ones. These tend to be the sticking points, from what I understand, having to do with 3 strikes you're outlaw, which, from what I understand, the Republican minority wants a 3 strikes you're out, that's it, no questions asked. And then, of course, if that's the case, do you build more prisons, which of course costs money, and it's a case of not in my own backyard. Is that accurate? And where do you stand on the 3 strikes you're outlaw?
I was one of the original, pardon me, I was one of the original sponsors on 3 strikes you're out. It certainly was for violent offenders. The problem here with the Pettit case had nothing to do with 3 strikes you're out. These individuals, not only here but anywhere in the nation, would never have been convicted under 3 strikes you're out. What we need to do is explain to people that the problem here was communication between the parole board and certainly the prosecutor's office. That's where the problem lies. But we also need to understand we need to improve the 3 strikes you're out for longer sentences, but we have to be careful how we craft that language.
Meaning what? Meaning? We
have to make sure that it works. You can't, what happens is if someone knows that there are 3 strikes, they're going for life or a long sentence, they're going to will not plea bargain. What they'll do is tie up the court systems. The court system will break down. That's not the way our justice system works. It has to be something that really is usable and workable. The 3 strikes you're out law that we have is a good law. It can be improved, but we can't be extreme on it so it doesn't work.
Meaning extreme that if someone's accused of like 3 misdemeanors, not misdemeanors, but let's say lesser.
Of course.
And that they're going to end up in prison for life.
It has to be sensible, but our judges also have done a pretty good job of giving longer sentences in the last 10 years. You can see that through the statistics. But in certain cases, some of these individuals, quite frankly, I think all of us agree, should never see the light of day, and we need a crafted piece of language that will go for those sort of individuals that do have, will basically put people at risk if they're out of prison.
We only have 30 seconds left, and I do want to ask you about this, having to do with Senator Gaffey, a Democratic senator who is up on the floor above you, and there's some questions having to do with his relationship with a woman who lobbied on behalf of the state who got a lot of money for the college system. Do you think there should be an investigation?
Well, you know, if there's something that's really shows that he did something wrong, then absolutely there should be an investigation. But we're turning into accusations, innuendos, and almost like tabloid accusations around the Capitol. We shouldn't be asking anybody who they sleep with. That is not any place for the General Assembly. However, if there's something there that there's a relationship that did a favor for somebody in exchange for the relationship or a sexual relationship, then certainly that should be investigated. But we have to be quite careful when we start peeking in people's bedrooms and making accusations without facts.
All right, Speaker Amann, thank you so much for your time, and I will be seeing you at the Capitol.
Shelley, great to see you.
Session. Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to you, too. Thanks.